welcome to today's segment of The Power of Money. I'm your host, Michelle Graves, affectionately known for the last 40 years as the Money Lady, and I am delighted to be able to spend this next hour with you, my faithful listeners, over the many, many years, the 12 years I've been here with DATV, headquartered in Dayton, Ohio. Yes, Dayton's a fast-moving city. I've continued to say over the years, Dayton, a daytime town. They live in the light. They're awesome people. Why do I drive from Cincinnati to Dayton? Because I happen to like friendly people, people that see the positive, encouraging, and I don't want to be near bad water, okay? No. So anyway, I welcome you to segment 2 of So You Want to Be an Entrepreneur, and I'm going to continue off of part 1, segment 1, because I ran out of time, simply put, and I had a whole lot more to say. I was going to be talking about another segment, but I need to finish this one up because it's very important. We talked about a lot of stuff on the last segment. You can check me out on your local public access station, or you can always go to YouTube under The Power of Money. So You Want to Be an Entrepreneur 2025, and you will hear part 1, which allows me to segue into part 2 to finish up on what I didn't finish up on the last show. If that's okay with you, let's go with it. What I talked about on the last show was 2 specific case studies, one dealing with the Latino population and what their history is coming in as immigrants, taking the low jobs. But see, you missed it. They didn't stay there. They used that as a portal for bringing in other family members, other community members, and they moved up the food chain to where they started their own cleaning services and hired their own people and did what we do in America, which is keep it moving, please. And then I talked about another situation with a company that was just a mom and pop that did nothing but fish, whiting. And the fish was very successful, still is, tasted remarkable. Why? Because they used lard, pork, to cook the fish in. And of course, any cook knows that pork makes it better. It may kill you, but pork makes it better. So they built up a reputation for phenomenal fish in their market, and they still are doing it. And so I talked about, again, what is required and how those 2 case studies are examples. But again, dealing with, and the most important thing you have to deal with, is this something you want? Are you content to be a W-2 employee? Which means at the end of the year, you get a statement that has to go to the IRS and has to go to your state and local governments showing what kind of money you made. Because, as I said on the last show, you're the gold. You are the gold. There are no nuggets, not in America. There are no trinkets. It's you. Why? Because you pay taxes. And taxes are used to pay government bills, including that daggone debt. Whoo, my words. Our grandkids will be paying that debt because that is the reason people buy our debt, because we, the American citizen, is the gold. The immigrants that start their own companies, the immigrants that start work for companies, the immigrants that have their family members working, the immigrants that go on and buy homes and etc. cash, they now are the gold too. I mean, we have an inclusionary system over here. Anybody that can pay taxes, you add to the asset base of America. Don't ever forget that. And don't be bamboozled, okay? It's not the Chinese that hold the debt. It's the American government that holds the debt through our government debt, okay? Govies, right? Treasuries. We sell debt every day, and we will continue to sell debt as long as we are in debt, because now Our interest is earning money on itself. I told you about money. That chick don't play with nobody. Okay? So understand how our taxation system works. Understand why you're the gold. And understand that you can do lots of things. You can stay W-2. And I encourage everyone to continue working for somebody else until you have the means to leap. Okay? And preferably, and I say this, if you have a spouse that's working, that's even better because you need your health benefits. Yes, you do, because America is not a healthy place. Trust me. They will tell you some things and neglect to tell you essential things. And you're running around saying, why am I sick all the time? Well, look at your diet. Why are you eating those heavily salted, heavily flavored, heavily sugar-coated, cancer-creating goodies, cookies, candy? We like that. And our balloon bellies, we like that too. Okay, we just put a girdle on. Or with men, they strap it down another way. But we're not really interested in resolving that for real. We just want a quick fix. We want an Ozempic. God, I wish I had the patent on Ozempic. Can you imagine the billions of dollars that are made by one scientist working for one corporation doing all of the formulary perfecting to get a device that will force fat to flee your body? I mean, that's a billionaire in the making. Didn't say it was me, wish it was, but again, those rights are probably locked in to that manufacturer that man works for. He's probably a W-2. They keep all patent rights, and they get rich, and he gets a check. Is it fair? No, that's not a relevant question. When you're in business, be in business. And I say that to people all the time, especially in America, because we have this fetish about, that's mine. I own that. And I'm going to tell you, when I lived in China, the Chinese say, you don't own anything. They said, we don't believe in God, but we know God owns everything. So why don't you all stop claiming something that's not yours? And they don't respect anybody's patents. They sell Wrigley bubble gum, a knockoff. For, at that time, it was 5 cents. Wrigley's was 20 cents. Who do you think got all the business? With the same logo, lettering, etc. There was one tiny little quirk that let you know that it was theirs and not Wrigley's. That's major. 5 cents versus 25. Can you imagine the profit that the 5 cent gum made? I bet you it far exceeded the 25 cent that Wrigley's charged. Same thing on everything over there. They don't respect anything. What they told me, and I believe it till I leave, they said, Michelle, it don't matter how smart you are. In capitalism, it's who gets the dog first. Ruff, ruff. Well, I was like, oh, you don't. No. We make your stuff. We make other people's stuff. We get paid less, but we wind up having more. And that's just what has happened. They don't allow their citizenry. At the time I lived there, they didn't allow them to have credit cards. They could save, they could invest, but they could not be in debt. No, they said no way, period. That's going to happen. They're going to feed their own. Over there, everybody had a side hustle. At night, the children worked, playing violins and stuff while you ate dinner. And you tip them. And that's all money that went in their pocket. Today, I don't think that's going to happen over here. I don't think your child's going to go to the restaurant that you own and begin to entertain the guests for money. But here's the rub. their children have a crisp understanding of what money can do for their families because they see it with their own eyes. And they also know that they have the capacity, even with a violin or a flute, of making money. So let's circle back around that and let's talk about the mindset that tells you that your money is clearly better than somebody else's money. Translation: when you get paid, how much of your money is taking a one-way trip to pay the credit card bill because you just had to have that dress, or you just had to have those pants, or you just had to have. Have you thought about that? That the money you're spending to subsidize your vanity is not coming back, period. And you're going to wind up not only paying for that dress or shoes, male and female, but a funny term called interest, which is the cost of you having to buy that and you didn't have the money. Now, in the good old days, Kmart, prior to Walmart, Kmart would do installment, pay as you go. So your Easter things were put on installment. Your Christmas things, you shopped like shortly, all your Christmas, put it under weekly payment. They log you in and you paid for your items until 2 weeks before Christmas and you had to come and get your stuff. That's how they worked it. And it worked very, very well. It wasn't enough to keep them in business, but it worked well for those who used that system because you were able to get all the kids' stuff and everybody else's stuff and you could pay as you go. Which, by the way, and it may sound silly, but I do believe in that system. Why? Because it becomes a budget item. You can plan for that money going to pay for this item. There's no interest charged on layaway. You pay for it and it goes. Powerful piece that went the way of the credit card. Because when the credit card rolled out, people said, well, I'll just put it on my card and then I'll pay my card off. But there's a catch, because the card charged interest on what you purchased. And right now, the interest on most of the retail giants is 34.99. Did you hear that? How bad do you want that stuff? Or as my kids tell me, Mom, that's not how we shop for toys today. I said, how? They said, we just don't spend any money. We go 5 beneath. There's a store called 5 beneath level something. But you can buy everything for $5 or less. And as I tell them, I said, but they're all made in China. Jeez. And they said, so what? $5 is a lot better than what you're paying. And I'm like, you're right, because kids tear it up in 2 weeks after Christmas. So what's $5? Okay, that's not even a Big Mac. Okay, it's all about perspective. But it's also all about keeping you out of debt, because our country's in debt and using the gold, us, as the leveraging point for paying off the interest. Didn't say principal. Ha ha ha. That's funny. The interest through our ability to pay taxes. Yeah. Sales tax, federal tax, state tax, local tax, car tax, homeowners insurance. No tax, but rates have gone up. So that's a subtle tax. If you look at the kind of money that you are paying as the gold, you'll be like, you know what? I'm never going to have any money. And the truth is, as a W-2 employee, you won't, because that's not the goal. When you work for somebody else, you become a part of their calculations on how much profit they should anticipate. And what are the margins, which are the true costs of what this thing cost? One of the things I saw in China that was eye-opening was several major brands. Major, Steve Madden, some other brand. They were all made over there. And they were made at a cost of, I think, around $1 a shoe. And then they flip them over here and they sell them for $100. Do you know what the margin is on a $1 shoe that sells for $100? And it's then financed at 34%. So the true cost, their profit, was $100 minus $1, minus shipping, minus overhead. And I'm going to estimate the margin on that was about 400%, plus interest. And they're going to tell us they're going out of business. Are you kidding me? Do you not think folks have common sense? Or maybe they don't. But I'm telling you, as far as I am concerned, the money lady, no joke, 40 years and counting, you're ripping people off. You're richer than rich. And they're getting poorer and poorer by the minute because they believe in this fantasy story that they can have fabulous shoes with a shelf life of 1 year, then they're out of style. And then they're broke. Or they're looking to you to finance through credit cards their lifestyle and desires. Oh, this is incestuous. This is disgusting. This is why they don't care. The Asians say, we're going to get every bit of money we can get off y'all. Why not? It's available. So, TikTok it is. Temu it is. And any and everything else that you go in your major department stores for that says made in China, because they're required to disclose in the United States. That's not everywhere. That's here. So what am I saying? So you're a W-2 and you can't maintain your lifestyle because you're a W-2. You're getting a check. You work for somebody else. You're not really seasoned in working with people in terms of selling skills. And so that is why many W-2s are ticked to the bone and want to start their own businesses. But I say, stop at halt right now. Do you like people? For real. If you don't like people, then you need to look for an online presence so you don't have to deal with people like that. You can always do artificial intelligence. You can always do fake people. You don't have to deal with people one-on-one in an intimate way as you deal with retail direct. You can hire people to do all these things. And if you can cover your overhead, and I told you save all your money, if you can cover your overhead, then you got a world market. There are 8 billion people on the earth. Surely you can get some of them to buy this stuff. Okay? I'm not kidding you. Some of them can buy this stuff and will without a blink. They will do it because they want to. Free market, open market. So that's for those of you that don't like people. But the majority of us will have to interface with people because people are going to evaluate your stuff. And they're going to evaluate you. I was on internet and there was a product that I was using that I'm no longer using because the girl gave a personal experience about a Korean company hiring her to sell into the African American market a gel that would make their hair lay down smooth from all these fancy hairstyles. But she was the only African American in that company, large company, all Koreans. Why? Because they taken care of each other. She was not a part of the family, but she was required. They had to hire her because you can't do a whole lot of marketing into any community and there's nobody there representing you. And she gave us such a poignant story that I threw the container in the garbage. She talked about how they maligned her, how they talked about her complexion, how they talked about her physical appearance. They said bad things about her, and she sang the song. So even though they've never connected with the public, they just did. They got their poster girl for going out of business. Because I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. Just like I threw mine in the garbage, bingo, bye. A whole bunch of other people threw theirs in the garbage and will not buy again. So what does it say to you? Well, it says to you, if you're a business person, that's an opportunity. You can now go into the market with the exact same formulation, identical, hire her as your spokesperson, and run it till it won't run anymore. How about that for an idea? Because that's really the way business goes, and that's what I learned in China, which is, Michelle, you might too personal. Business, business, business. I'm like, oh, okay, business, business. You're right. If they don't want to see it your way, it doesn't matter. Somebody will. And if it's packaged properly, somebody will buy it. Now, this is highly controversial because some people say, well, they took my idea, but remember the Chinese don't have that moral compass. They say there's no such thing as your idea. It's God's idea. And you're not the only person that has it. There are thousands of other people that have it together. It's who gets to the market first. Now, this is a big thing. I'm going to talk about business again. And I'm going to talk about emotional intelligence. That's a catch-all term that means that you have an understanding of how people process stuff. That's why they keep running commercials over and over. They know if you hear that commercial 7 times, you're going to be moved to buy it, even if you don't like it, because the message has been sent over and over again, whether it's on internet, whether it's on television, whether it's through mailers, whether it's through word of mouth, whether it's through spokesmen, whether it's through a jingling song. The message has to hit 7 times. And then you will buy. Now, if you're a person that just thinks it's going to drop like that, that's not the way it works. The science is already there. Fortunately for you, you can go into a platform called Google, and you can type in your question, and you can ask Siri, where can I find this data? And it will tell you. That's the beauty. You don't have to go out here without knowing the risk you face. Because being in business, in my opinion, is more risky than falling in love and getting married. Why? Because when hard times come in your marriage, you may be prone to tough it out and fight it out. But in the business world, when hard times come and you don't have an injection of money to keep you going through the hard times, remember I said keep your business, you're going to find yourself losing money and ultimately shuttering that thing down. Now, the blessing for the big companies is that they can sustain longer under the illusion of people being able to buy. But watch this cycle we're getting ready to go into. Big Lots is closed. Big Lots? Yeah. Big Lots and a whole bunch of others. Bed Bath. Why'd they close? Well, I can tell you with Big Lots, it didn't take much. Big Lots veered into the retail department area rather than staying true to what it did, which is cheaper items and cash and carry. I'm serious. They had, in my opinion, they had some prices that were totally realistic for the market. But then they wanted to compete with the big boys and sell furniture and sell beds and blah, 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 blah. Big ticket items that took shelf space, took floor space. And people came in and they didn't have what they came in for. And they didn't like it and they didn't go back, including me. I'm like, this is too much. I don't want a bed. I don't want that stuff. That's for first timers, newlyweds, college kids, and they're not going to come here. They're going to go to another Big John's or somebody and buy a mattress and call it a day, because they're just young people. They're not coming here and pay $800 when they can get junky one for $100. That's $700 more in their pocket. That's real. That actually happened. Big Lots is closing all over. They're not the only one. Mistakes can be made because people violate those principles of knowing what people are thinking, emotional intelligence. Why would she buy a $100 mattress? We could lay her out with a $1,200 bedroom set and we can finance it. Excuse me? Your finance department is not the sales floor. And the finance department is going to run a credit report, and a finance company is going to see whether or not this person can be trusted to make payments. And if the answer is no, you've not only blown a sale, but you've blown a customer. Do that enough and you're out the door. Think about that when you think about what you want to do. Do your research. Look at, and just ask Google, give me a list of all the stores that closed in 24 and in 23 and then 20, and print them out and look at them. Look at them. These are big boys. They pay money for people to get it right. Then look at your neighborhood. Who's still open and who's not? Okay? And I bet you will find pony kegs are still open because there's cash and grab. You will find inexpensive, also known as cheap, retail stores, cash and grab, and knockoffs galore, cash and grab. Why? Because she wants to look without paying the Louis Vuitton price. Because you're going to pay for that puppy. And it better have the ability to sing an opera. Okay, I should be able to put my bag down and sing me something that makes me feel special. That's why women suck $4,000 into financing a purse at a department store, because you can't get financing like that unless you go into a major credit card. And you're going to pay the interest because that's what you want. And who looks at interest? Well, I'm going to tell you the reason you don't have any money is because you didn't look at interest. And that bag sang opera to you. It sang an aria. It made you feel special. Talking to the W-2s. Those are self-employed. Know full well you're not buying that kind of bag, because $4,000 will allow you to meet your payroll, pay your rent, put some food on the table, and perhaps pay for your car note. Okay? That's the reality of the self-employed world, not the W-2 world. I always know women that are W-2 because of how they spend their money. I know it with men too, how you spend your money, how you make your buy decisions, what you do that's so significant and important, as opposed to self-employed. Yeah, huge difference. Self-employed people will go to the food bank and get produce. Why? Because it cooks the same as the food you bought at your major food stores. Probably better because it's been donated. Okay? And when I say donated, there's an issue of quality control. They don't want the reputation of selling bad food coming out of a church or a nonprofit. Do I recommend that self-employed people do that? Look, you do what is necessary to keep your operation tighter than a frog's butt. Yeah, you do. And if people say, well, God, they're so tight. Well, if I don't run it tight, I can't meet my payroll. If I don't run it tight, I can't not keep my doors open. Then I have to go back to being a W-2, which I hope I'm still hanging in. If I don't hang tight with plan ahead, then I may wind up behind the 8 ball. If I don't handle my emotions when the tax bill comes and rise up and look at my home and what can I get out of my home to pay my bill. That's the mindset, the emotional intelligence of a self-employed person. Okay? They look at everything in detail. They don't make any random purchases because they know the money spent is the money gone. So how am I going to get this money back? Well, I got to get customers. I got to get orders. I got to get sales. I'm competing against a ton of other people. Internet is now standard business. Can I present testimonies? Do I have people that are even willing to do this? Do I have to pay people to pretend they bought it? Oh, you don't think they pay people to lie? This is America. Of course, they pay people to lie and to say, I love this stuff. Okay, it's the best. I'm beautiful now. Are you kidding me? Are you? Stop. Look at what the price is on the self-employment side. And know that I'm in your corner because I've been self-employed since I was 32. And prior to 32, I had an exchange situation in high school. Yes, I did. Where I bought wholesale earrings from an artist that was one of my friends. She still is, and she still does fabulous earrings. And I would take her earrings on little cardboards, and I would fan them out to girls at other high schools. And they would sell them. They'd make a cut. I already took my cut when I told them what it had to sell for. And they would sell them, and they would make theirs. The customer was happy. It was all transacted in a girl's bathroom at whatever high school they were at. And everybody got paid. I was doing that in junior high school because I figured it out. My girls that were my distributors were everything to me. They kept my business going. Keep that in mind when you're working with people. You better find a way to make sure there's something in it for them. That's why I'm not real big on, getting involved with family members that are negative. You got enough going without dealing with their comments and criticisms. Okay? You got enough going. Either you're going to be a part of my team or have a nice day. And don't take it personal because not everybody is wired for this kind of life. I know what I'm saying because even within my own tribe, my own family, I know they think that chick, she is, whoa! I'm like, I'm intense. That's the correct verbiage. And I better be, because if I'm not intentional, meaning I mean what I say and I say what I mean, if I am not intentional, then I'm going to be homeless. And I'm going to be knocking on your door looking for a place to live. How you like that? I'm going to be looking for a job so that I can make some money and come out of this hole. So I'm just saying to you that are listening in, I encourage you, but as I told you on the last, do it the right way. Keep your job, bank your money, look at the market, decide what your approach is going to be. Know what your margins are looking like. Okay? When the U.S. started doing goods and manufacturing in China, because of NAFTA and these wonderful giveaways. Thank you, Bill Clinton. You really did it. And they started shipping that stuff across the ocean. And you were able to make handsome margins, wonderful margins. For a minute, because you can't expect consumers that are W-2s to keep buying your shoes when you won't give them raises to offset the money and the debt. And then you jack up their rent. Whoa! So you want them to live in colonies in a 3-bedroom, which is 3 families. We are not a third world country. Oh, I'm sorry, that's inappropriate. We are not a lesser developed economy. Really? Right. So you're squeezing them with everything you got. and you putting everything on internet that they didn't know, but now they know, and they're mad. And I'm going to tell you what could possibly happen. They may just stop spending money on stuff. Do I really need that? Do I really want that? Do I really need to master the art of saving? Do I? Well, I'm hoping the answer for those of you watching is, I have decided I'm going to take a stand. Right. And you buy what you need and not what you want. And since it's an addiction, and you know it is, because they inundate you with this stuff so much, I'm like, take a break. Stay away. Do something nice with your family. Play Monopoly. Play puzzles. Okay? Get involved with your children's life and not with their PlayStations. And really begin to see what this W-2 life looks like. Because there are benefits. Don't get me wrong. W-2 means health insurance. I ought to know. W-2s mean all kinds of life insurance under group plans where you're aggregated as a group so your premiums are low. W-2 means, in many cases, accident and cancer insurance for a song. It's not a bad life. Plus, they pay into your Social Security. Even if they don't have a pension, Social Security is going to collect the money. They're going to deduct from Medicare because when you come out at 65, you're going to need health care because the body does not get younger. Trust me, the body is the body. It's not an auto repair part. It's not an alternator. It's not a brake system. It's your body. So those are the benefits. You may say, but I can't stand this job. Oh, if you can't stand that job, trust me, when you flip over to self-employed and have to deal with all kinds of people, okay, the sane and the insane are looking at you. And then you have to deal with if the food made them sick, if you're deciding to cook food. And there you get a letter from their attorney that they're getting ready to sue you. You're like, but I didn't do anything. It's up to you to prove it. It's up to you. That's an expense. Now, do many people sue? They do all the time. Ask Kroger's. Ask any food store how many people fall on the floor pushing a cart. To a point where they now have nuisance suits where I'll just give you $10,000 to disappear. You can never go into another store like ours, but I'm going to give you this money because that's really what you want. Are you prepared for the other side? Let's not talk about, hallelujah, the Lord bless me. Jury's out. So, you know about W-2. If you do it, and I pray you do, bank your money, get your plans in order, look at prices. I know that restaurants are incredibly popular, food trucks as well, kiosks as well, but please be aware the major risk with food service is the price that you have to pay as a wholesaler, even buying the meat. Oh my God, meat is crazy. Why won't banks finance restaurants? Because the failure rate is so high. By the time you slop on the retail space cost, you slop on all the things that are a part of getting that chicken dinner ready. How much did the chicken dinner really cost you that you sell for $15? If you say with plate, forks, macaroni, that the real cost is $10, including, I'm here to tell you, you're not going to make it. If the bulk of the $10 is the chicken, I'm telling you, you're not going to make it. It's numbers. So how are you going to do it? Are you going to co-partner with a church? That's thought. After service, people want to eat. In the olden days, we did eat. Now everybody's rushing to go to a buffet. Well, why don't you consider being the buffet on site? Oh, I don't want to go through the politics. You're going to go through something to become a wealthy person. You're going to have to push through to help them see the benefits of what you're offering, which is your people don't have to leave. It's like in the South. Everybody cooks a tent dinners. And you go and you eat, and then you stay for afternoon service, and there you go. And I'm saying to you, something should be worked out that's more stable. If you're going after the same group on Sundays, you need to know the church people go to buffets on Sundays. I can give you the names because they're all there. You can look at their cars, you can look at their hats, and you can say, they are spending my money on this place. And these people aren't even a part of our tribe, but they're spending my money. Why? Because you didn't give an alternative. You didn't present anything before them that would be an alternative. You did not set up a catering on site, which is we will bring your Sunday meals to you, including homemade banana pudding, homemade chocolate cake, homemade pound cake, homemade bundt cake. We're going to do this for you. That's called personalized service. Got what I'm saying? You say, I don't feel like it. Then go back to W-2. It's okay. Don't do a disservice to yourself. Nothing's worse than bad food. Have you ever had bad food? There was a place that was open and it's closed. But the food was so horrible that I couldn't believe they were still in business. But it was a Sunday buffet and people wanted to eat. I'm just giving you sprinkles, okay? There are many other businesses that can be birthed, and the blessing is you can find all that stuff on YouTube, internet, type in start a restaurant, including the legalities. Most people have not thought, they're so busy, oh, I want to be legally right. And I tell them the Chinese aren't, and they don't care. They're like, excuse me, I don't care about that. I'm doing this. And you may want to think about that. If you're not making any money and you want to set everything in motion, and you should, but you do it on the cheap, don't put a lot of money into that. Not unless you have need to. But if you're doing extraordinary things, you want to think about it. Let's talk about another one just before I shut down. But this is organic foods are the hot thing. They've been around forever. I'm organic. I've been organic my entire life. Ask my kids. I refuse to let them eat that food. I said we grow it, we eat it, or we kill the cow. We go down to Kentucky to the slaughterhouse and we get the chickens from the Amish and we get the meat from the slaughterhouse because they don't eat the way city chickens and city cows eat. And that's the only way it happened. And my children are incredibly sensitive. My youngest daughter is a boss lady when it comes to gardening. And growing up, she couldn't stand it. She was mad at me all the time. Why do we have to do this on Mother's Day? I said, because that's what this mother wants. I want some greens. I want some beets. I want some cabbage. I want some chili peppers. I want this. They was like, okay. And now they want that. So I'm like, yay, yay, yay. Go on and put that stuff on TV. Charge people for membership to learn how to grow stuff. And you'll be rich in a couple of years. Okay? Teaching people how to do stuff they don't want to do or know to do. Okay? And make sure you have the option for them to order. because not everybody wants to be a real gardener. They want to pretend, oh, I grew my greens. You didn't grow a green. A green grows itself. Put in the right environment, it's going to sprout. Most vegetables are, if you put them in the right soil, right environment, right nutrients, they'll sprout. But now this big thing on organic and vegan and blah, blah, blah. And I tell people, okay, you're going to find out that you really are an addict. I'm not kidding you. I'm addicted to macaroni and cheese made with Velveeta cheese. Oh, well, madam, that's a plasticizer. What do I care? Give me some. And you say, no problem, I'm going to make you a batch. And this is what I'm going to charge you. Is that okay? Oh, sure, just get it going. That's the truth. So are you going to be completely honest about revenues? Are you going to pass up revenues in the sake of cultural and morality, cultural issues, which is you can't eat that, you're going to get stomach cancer. And I'm telling you that you need to shut up and sell that pie right now and feed your children right now. Or else, W-2, make it happen, make it happen. Go fast, go fast, go fast. So, I put this before you because when you're self-employed, it has nothing to do with how you feel. And here's the deal. Dr. Sebi is still on the internet like he's alive, talking about all these different organisms. Like he's alive. Dr. Sebi is not alive. And people, well, Dr. Sebi said, I said, excuse me? Who are you talking about? And on the subject of organic, how are you going to price it? How are you going to sell it because it's special? How are you going to get certified? How are you going to juice this stuff so you don't have a problem? Not everybody can eat all kinds of food. Are you going to let them pick and choose? I have one juicing company. You come in, you tell them what you want, and that's what they juice for you. Now, it's $10 for a glass, but it's what you want. And that may be the way to go as long as fruit prices are stable. I don't know, okay? We're getting ready to go on. In fact, we are on strike. The dock workers are on strike for all incoming stuff. That includes exotic fruit. If you can't grow them, how are you going to get them here? So these are things that unless you've planned, you may make some strategic mistakes. I personally think that anybody that's dealing with food needs to be a tad careful about what it is, where it comes from. Now, before you say, but the big box companies have all kinds of horrible things in it. And I will tell you, why do you think they're in it? They're in it to make sure you don't die. Because they don't know how long it's going to sit on the shelf. They don't know if it's going to be in the right conditions. And they want to just make sure you don't get sick or die and send them a letter. Look at what happened to Boar's Head, a premier processed meat, lunch meat facility. Out of one plant came utter chaos. And it remains to be seen as to whether that was sabotage or not. But you can believe enough people have died that Boar's Head brand is in trouble. Because nobody likes to think, it might be me next. I don't want to eat a piece of meat and die. That's real. That company had better have a plan B, C, D, and F, meaning we are not going to be able to make it. We're going to have to file bankruptcy, and the brand is ruined, and we're going to have to rename Boar's Feet instead of Boar's Head. I'm just saying to you, this is what being in business is really all about. And it's about managing risk versus reward. Now, there are people that have been in business for a long time, myself included, over 40 years. And I wake up every day thrilled. Now, some days are better than others. Some days I'm not thrilled. I'm ticked off because a client has not done what I recommended, but they've done what they've done. And now they're mad because they've experienced loss. And I always say, as I get ready to close out this segment, some people like to suffer. You don't know what their mental state is. Suffering may validate their experience. It may make them feel better in an odd way, that I took my own advice and blew myself up and I have an advisor and I didn't listen. How it make you feel? Are you happy now? Can we do business? I've had people do everything. Everything. And if you're going to be in business, expect it. Everything. That's why a lot of business owners should do W-2, because they're no longer nice. They're bitter. They're frustrated. And they got all kinds of problems, taxes, etc. Their families are in chaos because nobody wanted them to be in business, including their wife, who now has to work to keep things going while he pursues his dream or she pursues her dream. Rarely is it a situation where all things are equal. Seldom does it work like that. So I will say to any of you having these dreams that are married or engaged, you better have that come to Jesus conversation with your mate or to-be mate. Are you good with this? Are you good with carrying the weight, all the weight, for a couple of years? Are you good to see money that you were putting aside go to help me to pursue my dream? Do you want to be a part of this? You'll find that most spouses are like, no, I don't think so. These are questions you need to ask before you go further, because it's going to be the passion of your lifetime or it's going to be the devastation of your lifetime. You choose. But whatever you do, the devil is in the details. Do your work. Thank God for every opportunity to help change somebody's life for the better by them doing business with you. On that note, I conclude part 2 of So You Want to Be an Entrepreneur. And again, like I said on the earlier show, you may laugh at the guy selling hot dogs in New York on the corner, on Amsterdam and Lenox and all the other places. And in Philly, same thing. And in Boston, same thing, those hot dogs. But those guys are rich men. Do the math. And then before you smirk, ask them, how can I sell hot dogs? Get yourself some good shoes, a warm jacket, clean gloves, and make yourself some money. Because hot dogs are cheap and the margins are phenomenal. You take care. I'll talk to you soon. Bye-bye.